What's up, guys? This is Anime Crossover. I'm back with a new episode of What If Naruto Was the Red Flash, Part 19. And if you did enjoy the video, consider liking if you're new to my channel and like my content, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more crossover fictions with a twist. Now let's begin this new video.
May 2015. A few days had gone since things went to shit, and the team was doing everything they could to move ahead. True to Naruto's statement, Barry investigated the city extensively but found no trace of Dr. Wells or Eddie. He hated to admit it, but they might have to wait until Dr. Wells returned. Still, while he and Joe covered for Eddie at work, Barry spent all of his free time looking for Eddie and Dr. Wells. Despite everything, Naruto did his best to keep things running at Star Labs. He notified Gaara and Jiraiya of what had occurred and warned them to be cautious. It could be nothing, but it's always a good idea to be careful. Gaara was doing his job and would be back in Central City in a week or so, but business at Star Labs was booming. The company was already making millions, and growing would only increase their profits. Naruto even met with the board of directors of Stag Industries. They were performing poorly with their CEO dead, and conversations were ongoing about Star Labs purchasing a majority stake, which he was considering. If anything, it would allow him to develop more quickly in Central City until the secondary location was completed, which would still take months. Even though it appeared to be a poor moment, Naruto had a business to run and needed to be occupied. Caitlin was working on a project while Naruto and Cisco were in the Cortex. Cisco was disassembling the cameras that Wells had used on them. They were able to locate all of them, and he was now disassembling them. When Barry went in, Naruto was working on something private. When Barry observed what Cisco was doing, he said, "Hey, are you really going to keep those cameras Wells used to spy on us? That's a little creepy, don't you think?" When the computers detected an emergency signal, Cisco informed him, "First rule of mechanical engineering, dude. Never waste good tech. The Central City Gold Reserve has been attacked." "Gold? That's the case Singh wants us on. I'll be right back." Barry grabbed his suit and dashed out of the lab. "Are you going to accompany him?" Cisco questioned. "For a gold robbery? I think he'll be fine," Naruto said, continuing to work on something. Cisco had a peek around and noticed Naruto upgrading the computer system. He then got up to go fetch something, and Barry returned to Star Labs while he was gone. Caitlin gave him a once-over after he told them what had happened, but he seemed alright. "Your pupil movement appears normal," Caitlin said. "I can't see anything else wrong." "Do you think the thief may have been a metahuman who put the whammy on you or something?" Cisco questioned. "I'm not sure. When Rainbow Raider got in my head, all I felt was anger, but this wasn't that. This was just overwhelming fear," Barry explained as Cisco dug through security footage. Cisco showed them the video, which revealed that when Barry was hit with whatever he was smacked with, the thief wobbled as well. "It appears that when you fell, the thief became disoriented as well. Perhaps we both got whammied," Barry speculated. "Then you know how it feels." They heard and saw Iris stroll in, escorted by Naruto. Naruto appeared to be unconcerned about the situation, but Iris's look indicated that she was. "Good day, Barry. Or should I say the Flash? By the way, Iris is here," Naruto joked as the others gaped. Caitlin and Cisco observed through security cameras as Iris and Barry headed to the Cosmic Treadmill chamber to converse privately. Naruto returned to work, now syncing his phone and suit to the Star Labs system as well as installing some extra hardware to both. "This is one of the few times I'm glad I'm not Barry Allen," mumbled Cisco. "I wonder what he'll say," Caitlin added. "If you two want to eavesdrop, just do it and stop acting like fools," Naruto said as he concentrated on his task. "How did Iris even get in here? I thought you upgraded the security system," Caitlin wondered. "I let her in," Naruto said, introducing some new technology to his suit. On his left wrist, he was installing a tiny computer system relay. "She was pissed, and lucky for me, it was at Barry. Besides, she said she knew he was the Flash and wanted to talk to him, and I wasn't going to get in the middle of that. I'd recommend not getting involved to avoid the drama." "Fair point. Barry's business," Cisco replied. "But Barry is the Flash, and the Flash is our business, so by the transitive property, Barry is also our business," Caitlin explained, unmuting the camera. Iris left a bit later, with Cisco and Caitlin acting as if they hadn't noticed anything, although it wasn't very convincing. Later that night, Iris stayed late at CCPN to conduct her own personal study on Harrison Wells and Barry's mother's death. She was so preoccupied with her research that she didn't detect the sound of heels closing in on her until she noticed a coffee cup placed in front of her. She looked up and saw Linda with her bag thrown over her shoulder. "I figured you could use a little something to keep you going." "Thank you." Iris said as she sipped her coffee. No problem, Linda responded as she examined Iris's notes. After everything, it's still hard to believe, huh? Linda nodded as Iris questioned, you know, Naruto told me when he found out, and it wasn't easy, especially for him, Linda explained. Iris pondered, how's he doing? As expected, he's keeping himself busy, but don't worry about Eddie, Iris, he's still alive, Linda informed her. You can't know that, Linda. Eddie's been gone for days. True, but Dr. Wells took him instead of killing him when you were with him that night. He needs him alive. Naruto's confident Eddie's alive. When it comes to things like this, he's never wrong. Linda reminded her, which did little to alleviate Iris's concern. But I know he'll do everything he can to find him, and if it helps, we're on the outs with Barry as well, so you're not alone. I was wondering why Naruto let me in so easily at Star Labs. What happened? Iris inquired. Let's just say that keeping his identity a secret from you is one of Barry's dubious decisions. Naruto should really tell you if you want to know, Linda added, and Iris nodded. However, I'm glad you know now. It's nice not to have to keep this from you. When they heard the door open and Joe coming in, Iris grinned. Thank you very much, Linda. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night, Iris, Linda said as she stood up and walked away, leaving father and daughter alone to talk. I heard you talk to Barry, Joe added, only for Iris to remain silent and continue working. So, this is what my cold shoulder treatment feels like. Look, baby, maybe, no, I was wrong. I was just trying to keep you safe. You know, that excuse is getting old. It was the police academy, then dating Eddie, and now this. Sweetheart, you know what the man in yellow is capable of. He killed cops. He killed Mason Bridge, Joe said, shaking her to the core. Wells murdered Mason, and you're hiding it. No, 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 Joe explained. Did you ever stop to think that looping me in would keep me safe? Iris asked. That if I had known what was going on out there, I could have prepared for it. That if I had known what was going on out there, I could have helped you and Barry put the bad guys away instead of getting in the way. Believe me, I ask myself that question every single day. Every time you posted something new about the Flash on your blog. Dad, it's not just about Barry being the Flash. You knew how he felt about me for God knows how long, and you didn't tell me that either. That wasn't for me to tell, Iris. Joe said. Well, you know what, maybe Eddie would still be here if any of you had been honest with me. He wouldn't have gotten involved in all of this if I hadn't been dating him, Iris remarked to him. Are you saying that if you had known how Barry felt? What I am saying is that what happened to Eddie is your fault, Iris said as his phone rang. This is work, he explained. We can talk later. Talking. Yeah, that'll be new, she commented as she sat back down in her chair to resume her work. The next day, Barry and Joe foiled another gold robbery attempt by their unknown assailant. Fortunately, despite a landmine immobilizing their conveyance and heavy fire from a saw-light machine rifle, no officers were killed because to the Star Labs body armor they were wearing. Joe managed to shoot the thief in the arm before being knocked unconscious by the Flash with a super-speed tackle. What they witnessed, however, puzzled and horrified them, as the attacker was General Eiling, who was not acting like himself. They took him to Star Labs and placed him in a pipeline cell. Caitlin extracted the bullet from his shoulder, but he was essentially a walking zombie. There was no reaction at all. Barry, Joe, Cisco, and Caitlin stood there like mannequins watching him in his jail. What is wrong with him? Barry exclaimed. I pulled a bullet out of his shoulder. Which, by the way, should hurt like hell, and he didn't even seem to feel it, Caitlin added. I did a full body scan, and General Eiling is otherwise perfectly healthy. So, why is he standing there like a robot? Joe puzzled. Anyone else getting zombie vibes from him? Maybe I should make us some heavy-duty helmets in case this guy has a hankering for brains, Cisco observed as Naruto entered the pipeline. I just got off the phone with Jiraiya. Officially, General Wade Eiling has been dishonorably discharged from the military service, but that's just the army wanting to save face. He got word from his CIA contacts and Eiling has been missing for the past 3 months. They think he fled the country, but they haven't made any progress in finding him. Naruto explained. Makes sense. The last time we saw him was during the firestorm incident, and I just assumed the military court took care of him for us, Barry said. I got the number for one of Jiraiya's contacts. When we finish here, they'll take him into custody. He still has a lot to answer for, Naruto stated, glancing at the zombie-like Eiling. So that leaves us with where he's been for the past 3 months, Joe said as he approached the cell. General Eiling, why were you trying to rob the gold reserve? They waited but got no response. Perhaps he's in a trance, Caitlin speculated as Naruto stepped up to the cell door and hammered on it 3 times with his fist. Hey, General? Remember me? Naruto said, hoping to elicit a response from him. You know, the smartass kid who duped you and knocked your $1 out with an arm rest? Impulse. Eiling grumbled. Whoa, how does he know your impulse? Joe questioned. Eiling figured it out. General, Eiling is not here. Eiling is bad. Perhaps it's some kind of psychotic break manifesting as dissociative identity disorder, Caitlin speculated. Eiling said, stunning everyone, Caitlin is good. Oh, thank you. Forget multiple personalities. You've seen The Exorcist, right? Cisco inquired. You and your movies, keep talking to him. He seems to respond to you, Joe advised Naruto. Okay. Rhetorical question, but why is Eiling bad? Naruto questioned. I hurt Eiling, and Eiling hurt me. Alright, if you're not Eiling, who are you? I am Grodd, fear me, said Naruto, Joe, and Barry. What exactly is a Grodd? Barry inquired. XXXXX line break. They sedated Eiling before returning to the brain, where Caitlin showed them ancient footage of Grodd, who was a big gorilla. Oh, Grodd is a gorilla, Barry exclaimed. 5 years ago, Eiling and Star Labs were working on a project that they thought would be for enhanced gene therapy treatment for soldiers, but as we now know, it was instead a project to expand soldiers' cognitive abilities during battle, Cisco explained. What we didn't realize was that Eiling was attempting to create psychic soldiers, Caitlin continued. What exactly do you mean psychic? Joe inquired. Cisco added, Eiling was attempting to create these super soldiers with telepathic and telekinetic abilities. However, when Naruto's father discovered what was going on and went to Dr. Wells, who discovered the terrible experiments that Eiling was conducting, he shut down the entire project, Caitlin explained. Our psychotic killer has a soft spot for animals, which is nice. What happened to Grodd? Barry was curious. We don't know, Caitlin replied. After the particle accelerator exploded, I went to check on him, and his cage was empty. So, he could have been affected by the same energy that hit Barry, Naruto, and Cisco, Joe speculated. When the dark matter hit Grodd, all the drugs and serums Eiling injected him with could have activated. Maybe the accelerator explosion created a meta-gorilla. And I think we know what happens when a super-intelligent ape who's pissed at humans escapes captivity, Cisco explained. Cisco is correct about the first part. This is the first brain scan I did on Grodd, Caitlin explained, and it was peculiar to say the least. Wow, his primary motor cortex and Broca's area are glowing like a Christmas tree, Barry observed. From Eiling experiments, Caitlin explained, and this is the brain scan that I just did on Eiling. They matched. His brain is lit up exactly the same way. So Grodd and Eiling are linked in some way, Joe explained. We're dealing with a telepathic super gorilla who can not only mind control someone but also render a speedster immobile with a psychic attack, Naruto explained, referring to Barry's initial encounter with Eiling. And Cisco's not far off either. Grodd's going to be a pain in the ass in the future, so we find him now and stop him. Joe remarked, you sound like you know a lot about him. Naruto explained, well, I got a history lesson from someone we know. Who? Barry inquired. Gideon. Naruto muttered, and Gideon's holographic head appeared from a hologram projector powered by the brain computers. What the hell? Joe said, stunned to see the hologram come out of nowhere. Gideon said, good afternoon, everyone. Whoa, what's Gideon doing here? Inquired Barry. I've spent the last few days in the time vault, going through all the tech in that room as best I could, Naruto continued. While Gideon's general design is still way too advanced for me to understand, she managed to catch me up on the basics so I could install her into the Star Labs system. She's completely patched into the building, so she can do anything we need her to do. And you're certain you can rely on her? I mean, Dr. Wells has been using her the whole time, Cisco questioned. I made her, Cisco, or my future self created here. Anyway, she has a base protocol to obey any of my directions, and I warned her not to take any commands given to her by Dr. Wells or, as she informed me, Eobird Thon from the future. Specifically, the 2170s, Naruto explained. Are you coming back? Caitlin observed. The Reverse Flash is from the future, Eobird Thon. And the reason his name sounds familiar and he took Eddie is because he's Eddie's descendant, Naruto added. That's why he took him and why some of the hidden cameras he had were set up at Eddie's place and at the police station, to ensure his ancestor's survival. Right, Cisco realized, because if Eddie is his ancestor and something happens to him, the Reverse Flash ceases to exist. At least Eddie is alive, Naruto replied, so that's one positive to come out of this. Does Gideon know where Eddie and Wells are or what he's planning? Barry speculated. If I had known, Naruto said, I would have started with that. He erased Gideon's memory of his plans before fleeing as a safeguard against me, using her to stop him. For the record, we can stop calling him Wells and start calling him Thon. Anyway, Gideon has an extensive knowledge and database of everything Star Labs and metahuman related. I've been going over all the information she has and found some stuff on Grodd. Gideon, give them the condensed version. Of course, Gideon said, displaying a picture of Grodd, but this Grodd was different. He was dressed in a cloak and wore a high-tech helmet. Grodd, or as he would come to be known as Gorilla Grodd, is one of the most dangerous adversaries the Flash, Impulse, and their allies will face. Affected by the dark matter from the particle accelerator explosion, Grodd gained immense telepathic abilities ranging from reading minds to controlling the thoughts and actions of others, as well as telekinetic abilities, fueled by his hatred of humanity for the horrible experiments he endured at the hands of humans. Grodd. So, yeah. Cisco wasn't that far off with the whole Planet of the Apes thing. Naruto observed. The only silver lining is that based on the simple sentences Eiling could string together, Grodd's intelligence hasn't escalated that far yet. So, why do you think Grodd showed up now? Revenge? Barry speculated. I do not like the fact that Wells, Thon, Naruto corrected Joe. Right, Thon rescued Grodd, and I don't think it's a coincidence that this gorilla appears at the same time we're looking for him, Joe speculated. Grodd and Wells, sorry Thon, we've always had a special bond, Caitlin explained. It wouldn't surprise me if Thon was using Grodd to distract us. If he's from the future and knows about us and what's happened, he'll have planned this out. If we find Grodd, we find Thon. If we find him, and I'm going to assist. Know anything about gorillas? Caitlin inquired. I might, Iris answered as Naruto allowed her to use the computers to retrieve the information she required. There have been reports of some sort of animal down there in the sewers. Alligators. CHUDs, Cisco said, as they all stared at him funny. ROU, am I the only one who watches movies around here? Well, I've already dealt with one colossal alligator, so it's got to be Grodd, Naruto observed. Have you done anything recently? 2 sewer workers went missing a few months ago, and the search party reported hearing strange animal-like noises down in the tunnels, Iris replied. Where exactly did they go missing? Barry inquired. 5th Avenue and 10th Street. Cisco stated, there's an access point to the sewers about 2 blocks east of that intersection. Then that's where we'll start, Barry explained. You're not alone, I'm coming with you, Joe said. Wading through miles of rates, roaches, and human excrement, count me out, Cisco said, drawing everyone's attention to him. Count me in. Joe mumbled, he's your monkey. All right, but before we go in, we need to be prepared. If Grodd was able to disable Barry with a psychic blast and mind control Eiling, he'll know when we're getting close, and he's been down there for over a year, so we could be walking into a trap, Naruto explained. And I'd rather avoid whatever circumstance leads to this fight extending into a third act later tonight. Okay, so what do we do? Caitlin pondered. I'm going to call Linda and see if she'll help us out in the sewers, and I'll upgrade some icers to take down a gorilla, but first and foremost, Cisco and I are going to need to build something to keep Grodd from messing with our heads, Naruto continued. How long is that going to take? Joe pondered. I might have something in a couple of hours, Naruto said, but we don't go down there until we're ready. They all agreed. While the rest did their best, he and Cisco got to work. Because upgrading the icers wasn't difficult, they spent the majority of their time developing mechanisms to keep Grodd's telepathy from interfering with them. The good news is that Naruto called Jiraiya's contact, who picked up General Eiling, and he had a sinking sense that this wouldn't be the last time they saw him. Linda came a few hours later, just before dusk, as Naruto and Cisco were putting the finishing touches on many high-tech silver headbands. Is that all there is to it? Joe thought. Anti-telepathy headbands. Magnetic resonance is used to neutralize any foreign neurological stimulus, Cisco said as he handed one to each of Barry, Joe, and Linda. So, it'll protect you guys from being mind-controlled? Iris inquired. That's the idea. It'll regulate our brain's normal neurological activity and the magnetic frequency should be able to prevent anything from interfering, Naruto cautioned. Right, Joe said as Naruto handed him an updated Icer shotgun model. Damn, this is nice. Will this bring Grodd down? Yeah, That model has enough dendrotoxin to kill an elephant, and unless the particle accelerator mutated Grodd even further from a normal gorilla, it should work, Naruto told him before handing Barry and Cisco the Icer's gun replica. And these should at the very least slow him down slightly, but failing that. Naruto put on his repulsor gauntlets, and Linda's hands glowed brightly. "We'll take the direct approach," Linda said, "and I was never a fan of monkeys." "That's my girl," Naruto said, smiling, and she smirked back. "All right, then, let's go monkey hunting." They used the Star Labs van to get to the manhole near 5th and 10th, where they made their ingress. Joe took aim with the Icer shotgun, while Linda illuminated the way with her talents. Aside from the smell, there was no trace of a giant gorilla. As they made their way through the tunnels, Naruto dropped special flares, sensors to keep them from getting lost and to better map out the terrain. The sensor flares were emitting little subsonic frequency waves that, like sonar, surveyed the subway and fed everything back to Star Laboratories so Gideon, Caitlin, and Iris could warn them if something was approaching. Cisco adjusted his safety helmet, which housed his lights and camera, so that the females at Star Labs could see what was going on. As Joe led them down another access tunnel, he grasped a banana in his palms. "Is the banana really necessary, Cisco?" questioned Naruto. "Hey, it's better to be safe than sorry," Cisco advised. "I can't believe I'm down here looking for a supernatural gorilla when I'm terrified of regular gorillas," Joe said as Naruto tossed another flare. "Naruto, are you getting anything?" Naruto checked the sensors on his phone, and they were only picking up on them. "Nothing yet," he said as he walked through the filthy sewer water. "You know, I'm glad my oxyhydrin bacteria was able to clean up the city so thoroughly, but I still think we should all burn our clothes when we're done here." "There's no argument here," Barry said, "and you owe me a shopping spree for forcing me into the sewers, Naruto," Linda said. "I know, and my credit card is ready whenever you want it. Thank goodness I'm rich now," Naruto grumbled as they turned a corner and heard a clink. "What exactly was that?" Joe raised his revolver as Linda illuminated the wall, only to discover a rat creeping up the pipe. They proceeded into a tunnel that led to another street access point. When they noticed some strange scratches on the wall, Naruto deployed another sensor flare. "Whoa. Hey, guys, look at this," Cisco said, pointing to a wall with numerous scratches and carvings spelling out the name Grodd. Linda illuminated the wall so that everyone could see better, and the etched phrases were all over the place. "It appears we're in the right place," Barry remarked. As they progressed down the tunnel, the engravings appeared to evolve from primitive and caveman-like to sophisticated and clever. Drawings of Grodd, coupled with other words like father, bad isling, flash, and impulse, began to appear more regularly beside the name Grodd carved all over the place. Grodd is changing and becoming smarter. "Getting smarter, great," Joe said as they came to a halt in the access area after hearing a snarl coming from the tunnels. As Linda prepared her light blasts, Barry and Cisco put out their Icer pistols. "Does getting smarter mean getting bigger? Naruto, are you sure Gideon is correct that he's still kind of simple at this point?" Not as certain as I was before, but still 90% certain," Naruto responded, his voice trembling. More growling and rumbling could be heard, sending a slight ripple across the sewage water. "If I hadn't seen Jurassic Park, I wouldn't be nearly as freaked out as I am right now," Cisco said as Naruto checked the sensors, which detected a signature. "I got him. 11 o'clock, Naruto exclaimed as Linda lighted up the tunnel at their 11 o'clock and everyone had a sight of the black-furred gorilla. Joe fired 2 shots, but Grodd dashed away through the tunnels, his feet and hands thudding loudly. "He's on the move, approaching our 4 o'clock. As Linda lighted the tunnel, Barry held up his Icer and fired 3 rounds, one of which hit the gorilla in the arm. Roar! And, judging by the raucous shout, Grodd was enraged. Everyone was ready to take him down if he showed up again, but the enormous gorilla ducked back into the tunnels. "Where is he?" Joe said, casting his gaze across the various passages in search of the gorilla. When the sensors began to fail one by one, Naruto told him, "He's moving quickly all around." "Oh, man, that's not good." "Naruto, talk to us. What's going on?" Joe yelled as the sensor flares were destroyed one by one, leaving him unable to detect anything. Grodd was probably wiser than he thought. "The sensors are down. We're blind down here," Naruto said as he put on his repulsor gauntlets and turned them on. "Come together." Joe, Naruto, and Barry focused their attention on the 3 tunnels that led to the entry point they were in, while Linda utilized her skills to illuminate everything as Cisco cowered behind them. "Where is he?" Barry yelled, but all they heard were growls and the rumbling of Grodd's motions. "I have a bad feeling about this," Cisco grumbled before tossing the banana down one of the tunnels in the hopes of appeasing the enormous gorilla. "Really, Cisco?" Linda looked at him as if he were insane. Hey, it could work, Cisco said, only to have the banana hurled back at her, or not. Joe, Barry, and Naruto unloaded at the banana's origin tunnel, and after a torrent of icer bullets, shells, and repulsor blasts, they came to a halt. Joe and Barry reloaded their weapons as Linda lit up the tunnel, but nothing was there. That's when they heard growling from directly above them. Oh, crap, Linda grumbled. She hurriedly raised her hands to blind Grodd, only to be pushed into a wall by a big gorilla hand. Linda, Naruto and Cisco ran up to her as Joe fired 6 icer shells into the air before being slammed onto Barry. Linda was alright once Naruto turned her on her back. Most likely, he was simply knocked out. Barry and Joe rose to their feet just as Grodd slid to the floor and stood up straight, allowing everyone to see him for the first time. And he was terrifying. Grodd was easily 8 feet to 9 feet tall and approximately 800 pounds of primate muscle, when the ordinary gorilla was roughly 6 feet tall when standing up straight. Grodd sneered at the humans, his sneer revealing his rage. I am Grodd, Grodd exclaimed before letting forth a howl that nearly made everyone pee their pants. So, he can talk now? Whispered Cisco. That's bad, right? Roar. Grodd threw a punch that would have smashed Cisco's head if Naruto hadn't supersped him and Linda away from the roadway. Barry did the same for Joe, dropping them off in an alleyway. Stay here, Barry exclaimed as he and Naruto dashed back into the drain. Grodd swung his arms out in an attempt to capture the speedsters, but they were too fast for him and managed to confuse him for a moment. Barry took up his icer weapon and fired the remaining shots at Grodd, hitting him in the arm and face but only making him angrier. Naruto snatched up the icer shotgun and fired Grodd in the back as Barry super sped around Grodd to keep him distracted. The gorilla shouted in agony before collapsing face down on the ground. Naruto approached the gorilla carefully, the shotgun still fixed on him, while Barry came to a halt next to him. Did that do it? Barry pondered as Naruto prodded Grodd softly with his sneaker and the giant primate did not move. I believe so, Naruto said, pumping the expended shell and exhaling a sigh of relief. I agree with Linda, I despise monkeys. You know he's technically an ape, right? Barry corrected him after being kicked in the gut and thrown into a wall. Even for speedsters, the stomach kick and collision knocked the wind out of them, but they were then seized about the necks and pulled into the air. Their feet dangled as the enormous hands that grasped them belonged to Grodd, who glared angrily at both speedsters. Humans. Bad. Humans. Die. Grodd twisted them around before hurling them through a wall. They burst through the brick wall and sprawled in pain and disorder on the subway lines, but the worst thing was that the impact pulled their headbands off and destroyed them. Guys, the headbands aren't responding. They're offline, Caitlin said just as they got back to their feet, only for both of them to hear a loud high-pitched ringing in their ears before Grodd's psychic attack put them susceptible. Humans. Weak, Grodd growled as his telepathy transformed the 2 heroic speedsters into hapless humans. Caitlin and Iris sat helplessly at Star Labs as Grodd rendered both Barry and Naruto unconscious. Caitlin inquired, Gideon, is there anything we can do to help them? Grodd has them incapacitated. Theoretically, you should be able to shock them out of Grodd's psychic attack, Gideon explained. Speedsters' brain chemistry makes them highly resistant to mental manipulation and mind control, so if you get them to focus enough, they should be able to block out Grodd's mental attack. Guys, listen to me. Fight through this. Grodd's psychic attack is powerful, but so are your minds. Just focus. Caitlin encouraged them, but even with her words of encouragement, their brains felt dissected on the table, and overpowering fear ruled their bodies. It's just not working. Incoming service trains. ETA, 7 minutes, Gideon said as the computers displayed a train on its way to the tracks where Naruto and Barry were stranded. Caitlin. They overheard over the intercom. Linda had awakened from her coma and talked via her earphone. Please add me as well, and let's try again. Guys, listen to our voices, Caitlin and Linda exclaimed as Iris joined them and the 3 of them began to speak to them. You have to fight it. Just listen to our voices. You are stronger than this. You guys have saved the city countless times and stopped a lot of bad people. Everything you've been through, everything you've fought, all the hardships and tragedies have strengthened you. Fight for us, fight for yourselves. You're heroes, fight back. Their voices and words drew them in enough for their speedster brains to do the rest, allowing them to focus their faster neural pathways and block out Grodd's telepathic bombardment. They still had a severe migraine, but they were able to regain control of their bodies and get back to their feet. Grodd snarled at the 2 humans who had managed to defy his mental control. Nice try, bananas, but you're going to need to be smarter than that to take us down, Naruto said, hoping to trick Grodd into making a mistake, which the beast did. Grodd pushed forward, jumping down the sewage hole and onto the tracks, only for the speedsters to sprint by him to safety while he was hit and run over by a train. Perhaps he wasn't all that bright after all. Yeah, and I agree with you. I despise monkeys, Barry said as the team returned to Star Laboratories, where Caitlin, Linda, and Joe glanced at them. Alright, Linda's got a mild concussion, but one quick light absorption and she should be fine, Caitlin stated as she handed Linda a high-powered lantern. Thank you, Linda said as she placed her hand on the lantern and absorbed the light, extinguishing the lamp but curing her body and mind of her ailments. Wow, that's better, I love my abilities. Joe should be fine with some rest, but try not to do anything strenuous. You've got some bruises that need time to heal, Caitlin reminded him before moving on to Naruto and Barry. Naruto slid his shirt down over some bandages on his ribs, while Barry reclined in a chair with an ice pack on his head. You should rest for a few hours, Grodd hit you both pretty hard. Yeah, no kidding, Naruto said, rubbing his side as Barry leaned back. Suffice to say, the dark matter from the particle accelerator did much more to Grodd than simply make him smarter. I wasn't expecting him to talk at all, Joe said, but he's taken care of, and we made it out of there alive. I still can't believe Grodd turned violent, Caitlin added, he was always so kind. Well, being tortured and experimented on by Eiling has a habit of bringing out your angrier side, Naruto explained as he took some Advil to relieve his headache. I know what that's like, and I understand, but at least Grodd is taken care of. Thank you for your assistance today, Barry remarked to Linda, Caitlin, and Iris. Linda responded, don't mention it. I think we can call it a night and get some rest. We'll pick things up tomorrow when we're rested and don't smell like sewer. Amen to that, Joe said as Naruto grabbed his jacket and followed Linda out the door. Naruto. Barry shouted out, causing him to pause before departing. Many thanks for your assistance today. Don't bring it up, Naruto said as he and Linda walked away. At least he didn't punch you again, Caitlin said as they all walked away. XXXXX line break. A week had gone since the team had dealt with Grodd, and while they were relieved not to have to deal with a psychically irritated meta-gorilla, they still had nothing on the Reverse Flash and Eddie. Still, they did their best to keep themselves occupied. Naruto spent his time learning and reviewing everything from the Time Vault, as well as becoming acquainted with Gideon's mainframe and technologies. He discovered Gideon's neuromorphic matrix, which was effectively her operating system, while looking through the Time Vault. It was more advanced than anything on the globe for at least a half-century and could fit in the palm of your hand, so he chose to install it in his phone so he could always have Gideon with him. But what he discovered next piqued his interest. 3 little rings with a lightning bolt emblem were hidden in a chamber on the display case, and Gideon called them flash rings in the future. Speedsters used it to store their outfits so they could use them anytime they wanted. It was Future Star Labs technology, but Thon obtained it and used it to store extra versions of his Reverse Flash suit. That's what Naruto was doing in one of the labs. On the table was a spare Reverse Flash suit that had popped out of the flash ring, so he was now investigating both the ring and the suit to see how they operated. In addition to researching the outfit, he was attempting to decipher the microscopic holographic interface integrated into the palm. This was the ultimate riddle for a rising super genius to solve: future technology. He was inspecting the suit's construction using a high-powered microscope and scanner, which was both fascinating and annoying. It was made of a material comparable to his and Barry's suits, but much more advanced, and it was also mixed with some kind of compressible microfabric that could shrink the molecules of the suits. Naruto was so preoccupied in his job that he didn't see Barry, Caitlin, and Joe's footsteps entering the lab. What the hell is that doing here? Did you catch him? Joe questioned, surprised to find the Reverse Flash outfit on the table. No, I found a hidden compartment on the display case that held those when I went through the Time Vault, Naruto said, pointing to the spare flash rings on the other table. They're what holds his suit together, I'm just not sure how. To observe the lightning bolt emblem, Barry moved over and took up a ring. What exactly are they? Future Star Labs tech. They're called flash rings and essentially hold a speedster suit so you can have it wherever you want whenever. I'm just trying to figure out how these damn things work, Naruto said, scribbling notes on the computer. Do you think you can figure that out, because it would be a lot easier than having to carry my bag with me everywhere or racing back here to get my suit? Barry inquired. Maybe given enough time, but it wouldn't be figuring out how they work, Naruto said as he picked up the empty flash ring from the table and placed it on his right hand's middle finger. While a part of him despised it since it belonged to Thon, wearing it felt right. Seeing things like this in Gideon just astounds. Future us must be geniuses. Anyway, what is it? Cisco said he has something to show us, Caitlin remarked, and Naruto agreed. getting up and following her while Joe and Barry remained in the lab. "Well, things between you two are improving. He's not nasty or has punched you again," Joe observed. "I think Naruto's just doing what he said he'd do. Keeping things strictly business between us," Barry said, placing the ring on the table and sighing. "With everything that we're dealing with, it'd honestly be a lot easier if Naruto and I weren't on the outs." "You can't blame him. How would you feel if you were in his shoes?" Joe pointed out, and Barry agreed. "Just give him some time. You and Naruto have been through too much to let it end like this. Hopefully, once we've resolved things with Thon, you and Naruto can repair your friendship." "Yeah," Barry remarked as he and Joe made their way to the Cortex, where Cisco, Naruto, and Caitlin awaited them. "What exactly is it, Cisco?" "I've been thinking about a lot of things lately, and I kept wondering why Thon would pretend to need a wheelchair," Cisco remarked. Caitlin suggested, "Sympathy, I suppose. That's what I thought at first, but he's the man in yellow. He's the Reverse Flash. He's much smarter than that. Sympathy can't be the only reason." "Yeah, it was a misdirect, just like everything Thon has done," Joe pointed out. "I mean, the last person we'd suspect to be the Reverse Flash is someone who has lost the use of their legs." "That's exactly right, Joe. That's why I started messing around with the wheelchair, and that's when I found this." He flipped the chair over to show them the bottom and pushed a compartment back to reveal a small future power generator. It was spherical, with numerous rings of high-tech components connected by interconnecting lines that shone green and blue while the inner rings shone orange, and it was roughly the size of a donut. "Damn, you can't get that at Radio Shack," Joe said as everyone got a better look. When Naruto saw something familiar about the design, Barry stated, "That looks like the tech inside Gideon." "Is it just me, or is there something familiar about that thing?" Naruto exclaimed. "Oh, it's familiar. I used a hologram scanner to analyze the structure, and it's based on the arc reactor we have in the accelerator ring. Same chamber setup, energy alignment, ring structure. Almost 75% of the design shares similarities to the arc reactor, except this thing is way more advanced and powerful. I measured the output, and this thing is kicking off serious juice. I mean, we're talking enough to power all of Central City." "Seriously?" Naruto could not believe it. "I used to think we could miniaturize an ARC reactor, but that won't be possible for decades." "What do you think Thon was using it for?" Barry inquired. "I think he was using this thing as some kind of battery to boost his speed with the other components on the device that I couldn't identify, and that's why he's so much faster than you two," Cisco theorized when an alarm went off. Naruto inquired, "Gideon, what's wrong?" "The particle accelerator reaction has been initiated." "How is that possible?" Joe inquired as Naruto and Cisco went to the computers to confirm Gideon's assertion. "It just blew up." "Yeah, lower-level components of the ring structure were destroyed," Naruto explained. Cisco speculated, "It had to have been rebuilt. Thon, it's probably what he's been doing in secret all year and hid it from us, even from the scans we ran of the place. I'm sick and tired of him screwing us over," Naruto said. "Even though it's been rebuilt, how did he even start it?" Caitlin questioned, as Naruto and Barry did. "He's here, which is why we couldn't find him in the city. He's been in Star Labs the whole time, or under us," Barry explained. Caitlin stood behind as he, Joe, Naruto, and Cisco walked to the accelerator ring. They approached the reactor ring entrance slowly and carefully. "Cisco, why did you bring that orange soda?" Joe inquired. "Whenever something happens with the Reverse Flash, liquid floats in the air. Remember Barry's fish tank, Wells' champagne, Lance's coffee? If this does the same thing, we'll know Wells is in there," Cisco explained as they approached the reactor entrance. "Do it," Barry urged, and Cisco opened the door. Joe was the first to enter, followed by Barry, who showed them the gigantic reactor ring and the cells of the metahumans they had on hand. "Man, this is big," Joe remarked. "There's plenty of places for Thon to hide, and seeing as how he built it, a lot of places he knows about that we don't," Naruto speculated as he and Cisco watched the orange Coke float out of the cup. "He's got here." A red lightning blur pushed past them in a whoosh of air, and Barry was the first to chase after him. "Barry!" Joe's cautionary yell was ineffective, and Naruto was about to pursue him when he noticed one of the metahuman cells shift its location. Gideon reported as Peekaboo's cell was moved into position, prisoner release, protocol initiated. Cisco whispered, "Oh, no, Gideon, cancel release and initiate lockdown protocol now." Naruto yelled, just as Peekaboo's cell opened. Gideon responded, "Lockdown protocol initiated," as all Star Labs systems were immediately frozen and locked down. Doors, windows, security entries, air conditioning vents, and other such items were closed and locked, and all systems, including the building's internal security system, were put into secure mode. The reactor ring door closed, locking them in, and Peekaboo's cell doors, along with those of the other metahuman cells, were secured, preventing escape. The lights were turned off and replaced with dim red emergency lights. The lockdown protocol has been activated, and all Star Labs systems are secure. Dear Lord, Naruto exhaled a sigh of relief and patted himself on the shoulder for being the first to devise that security system. Joe and Cisco both stared at him, grateful yet perplexed. When I installed Gideon into Star Labs, I created security protocols for her just in case of an emergency. That was the first one in case something happened and they got out or someone tried to get in. The entire building is locked down and all Star Labs servers are secured, including the air conditioning vents. Thank God for your super brain, dude, Cisco said as his phone rang with a call from Caitlin. Yeah? Cisco, what happened? She inquired. Everything's shut down. What happened is that Naruto's super brain saved us and stopped one of the metas from escaping, but the bad news is that we're also locked in, Cisco explained. Hold on, Naruto said, pulling out his phone and activating Gideon. Gideon, open the reactor ring door and release the Star Labs systems from lockdown except for the containment system. Authorization, Naruto Namikaze. Gideon answered, authorization recognized, as she began reactivating the Star Labs system one by one. The lights were turned back on, the door was opened, and the computer systems were restarted while Peekaboo's cell was repositioned and all of their cells were secured. Nice work, Naruto, Joe said, but how the hell did Thon almost open her door? I'm not sure. Gideon, bring up Peekaboo's cell and run a system diagnostics check, Naruto stated as the cell appeared on a nearby monitor for them to examine, and the system check revealed a computer system short circuit. He tripped the system for her door. Fortunately, the lockdown protocol affects everything, I'll have to fix that. Wait, shush. Do you hear that? Joe asked quietly as he and Cisco remained silent but didn't hear anything. Naruto informed him, according to Gideon, all the other cells are secure, and no one escaped. Shush. Joe calmed them down and listened when they finally heard something. Someone, help, down here, yelled a voice from the ground. Joe was the first to descend the ladder to the reactor ring floor, and they all listened to see if they could find the source. They eventually discovered a concealed door and stairway that led to a secret compartment beneath the structure from which the voice was emanating. They made their way down and found Eddie, who was a little weak and dirty but otherwise alright, so they got him back to the cortex, where Caitlin checked him out and gave him some IV fluid. Your vitals are normal, you're just a little dehydrated, the IV should help, but drink some fluids and stay off your feet, okay, Eddie? Caitlin said. Thank you, Caitlin, Eddie answered, just as a whoosh of air reached the cortex and Barry appeared, hunched over and gasping for air. When Barry spotted Eddie, he said, he got away. He was too fast. He's always too fast. Eddie. Cisco informed him, we found him under that emergency hatch in the pipeline. I'm so sorry, Naruto and I looked all over for you, Barry apologized. Hey, it's not your fault. Sometimes you just can't see the clues, even when they're right in front of you, Eddie said, with a not so subtle undertone pointed at Barry and Iris. Well, you know what's important is that we're all safe and back together, right? Iris asked, taking his hand in hers. Eddie, do you know why he took you? Joe inquired, curious if Thon had revealed anything important to him. He said he wanted to keep me safe, that we were family, that his real name is Eobard Thon, Eddie explained as Joe nodded to Naruto. He was correct, and Wells, Thon kidnapped Eddie as an extra precaution in case something went wrong. Did he say anything else? I mean, anything that could help us with what he's really after? Joe inquired. He didn't say much. Just stuff about trying to reclaim what was taken from him, Eddie replied, drawing some strange looks from Naruto, who stored that in the back of his mind. Other than that, he spent most of his time just working on some kind of metal tube. What kind of tube? Pondered Naruto. Eddie described it as metallic, futuristic, and about the size of a cigar tube. He said it was the key to him regaining everything that had been taken from him. I don't know. I just want to go home, is that okay? Caitlin removed the IV tube while Iris assisted him in walking and escorted him out. What do you think Thon was talking about? Barry questioned as Naruto began to pace as he pondered what they had learned in his super brain to try and figure out Thon's eventual strategy. Naruto, is there anything? I'm thinking, he said, waiting for the machine to beep. Gideon, what exactly is it? I've found what's causing the particle accelerator to reactivate, Gideon remarked as Naruto walked up to the monitors before super rushing to the reactor ring to see the metallic blue tube Eddie was referring to. It was connected to the reactor ring and restarted the reaction process. To demonstrate, he video phoned everyone in the cortex. "Hey, guys. Found the source. This is it," Naruto said, holding up his phone for them to see. "This must be the tube Eddie was referring to. It's some sort of future power source that's kicking off the ionization reaction in the reactor." "Can you shut it down?" Barry inquired. "I can't. I had Gideon scan the tube and it's locked into position, and the only way to unlock it and shut it down is with a biometric-coded release key, which Thon most likely has. I can't. I had Gideon scan the tube and it's locked into position, and the only way to unlock it and shut it down is with a biometric-coded release key, which Thon most likely has." Caitlin added, "Yeah, that wouldn't be good." "Well, how long before it's fully functional?" Barry questioned. 36 hours, according to my calculations," Naruto replied before super rushing back to the cortex so they could talk. "That's when he'll be backed up," Barry said. Joe inquired, "Why would he want the particle accelerator to turn on?" "Yeah, it's not like it was a huge success the first time," Cisco said. "I'm not sure, but whatever Thon is planning, it has to involve the accelerator, and if he's been secretly rebuilding the entire thing, who knows what happens when it turns on?" Naruto speculated. "I mean, that knight gave us our powers, so who knows what he wants."
"Not just us," Cisco said, referring to the metahumans they had imprisoned. They displayed the footage from the cameras in the cells that housed Weather Wizard, the Mist, Peekaboo, Deathbolt, Rainbow Raider, Pied Piper, Dark Force, and Python.
"So, what happens if the particle accelerator turns on while the metahumans are still in their containment cells?" Caitlin wondered.
Cisco informed her that, "They're toast. We put them down there, and now their lives are in danger as a result of us," Caitlin explained. "Look, I think you all know I've never been a fan of this arrangement here. I thought the whole plan was to rehab them and release them," Joe explained. Caitlin explained, "It was. We've just been a little busy. And I'm not sure how successful that plan would have been in any case. Did you really think we'd be able to rehabilitate criminals like Weather Wizard or the Mist? They were criminals before they got powers, which made them even deadlier and more unhinged," Naruto said as he sat in a chair and exhaled. "Still, we have a problem."
"Well, they die if they stay in there, and if we let them go, they destroy the city," Cisco hypothesized. "We could replicate what we did with Bates. Hand him over to the cops with the power-dampening cuffs," Caitlin proposed, and they all considered it as an option. "That's not a bad idea if we do it correctly. We may knock them out and release them about the city before taking them down one by one and delivering them to CCPD. I've already sent Captain Singh power-dampening cuffs so they can take them into custody, but that won't work for all of them. Marcus Daniels is too dangerous, and Kabuto and Hartley are well aware of this. If we give them to the cops, we're screwed," Naruto pointed out, and they had to agree. But for others, that could work. "The power-dampening wristbands will prevent them from using their abilities until I send over the power-dampening generators and they begin construction on a dedicated metahuman wing at Iron Heights." "Okay, you drop the metahumans off at the CCPD, but what about the others?" Joe inquired. "We'll have to move them," Barry said. "Where should they be moved? There is no other place in Central City that can house metahumans," Joe reminded him. "You're right, but Lien Yu can," Barry replied, which Caitlin, Cisco, and Naruto understood was correct and could work, although Joe was perplexed. "What in the world is a Lien Yu?" Lien Yu is the island where Oliver spent 5 years stranded. Argus constructed a cover military prison on top of it, Barry revealed. "It's where Captain Boomerang was sent," Cisco continued. "Right. Oliver keeps his most dangerous criminals there. They won't be able to flee, and even more crucially, they won't be able to harm anyone," Barry explained. "Something tells me they'll get along just fine with Captain Boomerang and Deathstroke," Naruto observed. "Great. So we transport them from one illegal black market to another. And how do we move them to Oliver's private Alcatraz?" Joe said rhetorically. "I'll contact him. Perhaps he can help with transportation," Barry said.
He's a little preoccupied right now with the League of Assassins," Naruto explained, "but I'll call Diggle and see if he can use any of Lila's old contacts to help us. If that fails, we'll have to take them ourselves. Cisco, go check on their cells and devise little trackers to attach to them so we don't lose them in the city."
"I'm on it," Cisco and Caitlin said, leaving Naruto and Barry to talk to Joe, who was still upset about the plan's second phase, which involved transferring 3 metahumans to an island in the North China Sea. "Guys, this is insane. We have to do this, Joe," Barry said.
"I agree with Barry on this one. It's our only alternative," Naruto continued.
"Really, because this whole situation bothers me. On this one, we're breaking a bunch of laws. unlawful detention, human trafficking. When do we become the bad people in this situation? Joe inquired, and Barry appeared irritated by the question. We're not like them at all. How? Barry explained, we only break the rules to help people. It's not the best defense you could use, Barry, but what other option do we have? If you can give me one, I will gladly hear it out, Naruto responded, and Joe tried to think of one but couldn't. Daniels is too dangerous to be imprisoned, Hartley knows who we are, and Kabuto may report to the 9 if given the opportunity. If any of those happens, we're screwed. We'll end up in prison, with every crook in the city following us, are dead. So, whether we like it or not, we have to do this. However, your frown and arguments will be documented.
Naruto went out of the cortex to return to the lab to work on the flash rings and suits, unaware that Barry was pursuing him because he wanted to talk to him.
Naruto, you sure this will work? Barry yelled, prompting him to stop in the corridor so the two could converse. Quite maybe. At the very least, they'll be safe when the accelerator kicks in and we can concentrate on Thon, Naruto explained. What do you think he's up to? Barry inquired, only to have Naruto shrug his shoulders in answer. I'm not certain. I'll try to think of anything, but I have a feeling we won't figure it out until he tells us. However, thanks for your assistance with Joe. He's being a little stubborn on this one, Barry observed. He's just looking out for you, Barry, Naruto explained, drawing a puzzled look from his speedy partner. Let this be one of our old brotherly bonds in these desperate and dangerous times. Joe is just looking out for you and making sure you continue to be the hero you are. What exactly does that mean? Barry, despite the fact that our abilities are nearly identical. We are not the same person. Because of what happened to your mother, you've committed your entire life to proving the impossible and assisting others. Joe then took you in and nurtured that desire into the hero you are today. As Oliver stated, it is a symbol of hope for the city. You care about people, right and wrong, light and dark, and you stand firm in your beliefs. That's why you struggled so much when Oliver attempted to train you or when we went to Starling and you had to follow his example. I told Oliver this after my own personal character crisis, but we're not the same. Dodd and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Thon's influence in my life helped me embrace a side that I know you have a hard time with. Naruto clicked his teeth as he fought to say the next few words. I'm willing to embrace my darker side and do things that others won't. That you won't, which is good because I doubt you could. And I don't mean you couldn't accomplish them. I mean it would affect the kind of hero you'd have to be. As someone who has seen into the future, the Flash is a hero not for saving people, but for inspiring others to be better. How about Impulse? Brian inquired. Impulse is a hero forged through adversity to avenge the wrongs done to the people he's lost, and to make sure that never happens to anyone else again, Naruto explained. The world and the future both need us. Do not alter. Naruto. Barry said, getting him to stop for a second. Thank you. Naruto gave him a slight nod before walking back to his lab. Barry was a little surprised to hear all that from him, but it gave him clarification and some confidence for the trials they would face. Naruto called Diggle, who informed him that Argus would be sending a plane and a crew to pick up the metahumans and take them to Lien Yu. Dig also informed him that Oliver and the League had returned to the city to take Nissa back to Nanda Parbat. Fortunately, Oliver managed to sneak word to Dig and Felicity and tell them of the plan and how he faked kidnapped Lila. They gassed the metahumans to knock them out before releasing them from their cells and dropping them off in various locations around the city with trackers on them. When they awoke and attempted to flee, Naruto and Barry quickly tracked them down and incapacitated them. They took them to the CCPD, removed their trackers, and the police took them into custody. They all had outstanding warrants and on the run. They still needed to get Daniels, Hartley, and Kabuto across the city to the old Ferris Airfield's hangar, so they rigged a truck with a power-dampening generator and put power-dampening cuffs on them just to be safe, and they were all knocked out by icers so they would be asleep the whole trip. Naruto would drive the truck while Barry would patrol the route and make sure nothing bad happened. Naruto, are you sure that generator will keep them from using their powers? Kabuto, Daniels, and Hartley were placed in the truck's cargo section before Naruto secured the door and triggered the power-dampening generator, Caitlin inquired. With no signal interference, of course, and if it doesn't work, they're cuffed with power dampeners and taking an icer-induced nap, so we should be fine, Naruto explained. I still think we should come, Joe said, in case something happens.
We'll be okay. Furthermore, the less Argus knows about the involvement of Star Labs, the better. Let's get started, Barry, Naruto exclaimed as he slid into the driver's seat and turned the key.
Do you even know how to drive a truck, Naruto? You don't have a Class A driver's license, Cisco inquired. Gideon provided me a quick overview. I'm going to be okay. Whatever happens, Barry will be there to help. Wish us luck. Naruto drove out of the cargo area, with Barry speeding ahead to ensure their ride was as smooth as possible. Cisco hacked into the city's traffic cameras and lights to give them a clear and steady path through the city, while Barry quickly removed any pedestrians and created mini roadblocks or traffic jams, so no one got close to the truck. Naruto climbed out of the van and into the hangar before rapidly changing into his suit and waiting for Argus to arrive. Ferris Air. Interesting pickup choice, Barry remarked. Yeah, well, except for the ones in Coast City, most of their sites have been shut down since a test pilot went missing. I figured no one would be around to ask questions, Naruto observed, noting that the jet was scheduled to arrive in a few minutes. It should be here soon. They heard the rumble of a plane engine and spotted a cargo plane in the sky, which Barry described as "there they are." Alright, let's get them ready. Naruto and Barry opened the truck and double-checked that the prisoners were still unconscious and wearing power-dampening cuffs. The plane touched down on the runway and stopped near the hangar where the ramp opened up to reveal several Argus agents in tactical gear, some technicians and doctors, and one agent in a suit who must have been the point man. Said agent walked over to Naruto and Barry and shook their hands.
Impulse, Flash, I'm Agent Chong, he said, shaking their hands and signaling the other agents to take the metahumans into custody. Don't be concerned, they will not cause any harm.
Good. Make sure the cuffs stay on and that the power dampening generator is installed in their cells, Barry informed him. Believe in us. They'll kill you the moment they have the chance. They're hazardous, Naruto elaborated. Don't worry, we'll take care of it. Don't be concerned. Agent Chong reassured him as he witnessed his agents load the metahumans onto gurneys, where physicians examined their vitals before wheeling them into the plane, while technicians loaded the power dampening generators. Best wishes, you two. Maintain the city's safety. Argus is banking on you. Agent Chong boarded the jet as Argus prepared to take off almost as quickly as they arrived. Naruto, are you getting the sinking feeling that we might have made a mistake? Barry was perplexed. Yeah, but we already have enough problems. Let's just hope it's not a blunder that comes back to bite us later. Naruto expressed his desire. The Argus plane soon entered secure airspace and began its journey to its destination. Agent Chong made a phone call over the plane's secure phone network. This is Agent Chong, Director Waller. We have 2 metahumans. And what about the power dampeners? I'm also safe, Director. As we speak, our technicians are reviewing the technology, Chong informed her. Good. Return to base with the 2 metahumans after dropping off Rathaway at Lian Yu. Begin preparing for Task Force X as soon as you arrive. Waller gave the command. Yes, Mr. Director. And what about the other metahumans in Central City? Chong was perplexed. Should we send more agents to collect assets? Not until we have control of our 2 new ones and things are running smoothly. For the time being, the Flash and Impulse can keep Central City secure, Waller informed him. Yes, ma'am, Change stated as he hung up the phone. Soon after the swap, Naruto and Barry returned to Star Labs. Some concern persisted in their minds as they handed over the metahumans to Argus, but as Naruto stated, they didn't have many other options. Still, they're safe, and Joe received word from D.A. Horton that the metahumans the Flash and Impulse dropped off at CCPD were safe in cells, awaiting their trials. They had defeated Thon's attempt to defraud them, but now it was time to confront him.
When the accelerator was fully charged and running, Thon was seen walking nonchalantly through the gates and up to the building. Barry, don't even bother thinking about it. Joe forewarned him. No.
You can't just go out there by yourself, Caitlin informed him. He won't. As Naruto and Barry stared at the TV, he assured her. Let's put an end to this. Amen to that. As the 2 rushed outdoors, they came to a halt in the courtyard in front of Star Labs, across from Thon. It appears that you boys have been really busy. Making arrangements with Argus and other entities. Tisk. You two should have known better. Thon chastised them. We didn't really have much of a choice, Naruto informed him. Is this all part of your plan? Barry inquired. Actually, that wasn't in my plan at all, but I'm impressed you went to such lengths to keep those people safe. Are you always the hero, boys? You've harmed enough people, Barry said. I know. You perceive me as the villain, but if you two carefully look back at everything I've done, every wheel I've set in motion, you'll see I've only done what I had to do. Nothing else. Not anything less. Thon informed them. How about the particle accelerator? How does that fit into your overall plan? Naruto was perplexed. How about we go inside and let me show you? Thon proposed it. You know, I think I've learned enough not to trust the bad guy after everything we've been through, so no, Barry informed him. However, I've shown you time and again that even together, you can't be me. Thon reminded him of this. Then it's a good thing we didn't come alone. As the sound of a raging fire was heard, followed by the crimson glow, Naruto said. Firestorm flew into the air before crashing into Barry. They then heard the rustling and whistling of dirt as a big cloud of moving sand shot through the air before landing close to Naruto, with Gaara riding on top. He was dressed in a long-sleeved scarlet coat, full-length black trousers, and heavy-duty combat boots. A hefty sturdy military vest and 2 buckles and straps carried a huge sand gourd across his back. He was wearing a face mask from his nose to his chin and goggles on his brow. While Barry grinned at the reinforcements, Gaara nodded to Naruto, who nodded back.
Oh, it looks like you two brought some friends. When they heard the zip of a zipline and Oliver fell down in his League of Assassins attire next to Gaara, Thon said with a smirk. Welcome, Mr. Queen, says the host.
Hopefully, we're not too late, Oliver stated. Naruto said, just in time. I don't care how fast Thon is. You can't fight all 5 of us at once, according to Barry. Oh, I'm afraid I can't. Trust me, this is going to be a lot of fun. Thon displayed his flash ring, which began to light. As the firestorm flared up, Barry and Naruto donned their masks, and Gaara began weaving sand around him while Oliver drew an arrow. Thon's reverse flash suit flew out of his ring, and he super accelerated forward, suiting up as Naruto and Barry came at him in a high-speed duel. They spun in a circle at breakneck speed, unleashing speed punches and kicks at Thon, who was still fast enough to keep up with both of them. Oliver and Firestorm waited for their opportunity, but they couldn't do anything because they didn't have a clear shot. Gaara gathered his sand beneath his feet and launched into the air, waiting for his opportunity. Naruto grabbed Thon's arm and threw him to Barry, who attacked him in the face and then the gut before Thon blocked his third punch and headbutted him. Naruto delivered a right hook from behind, but Thon vibrated, causing it to phase past him and land on Barry instead. Thon threw his head back and punched Naruto in the nose before whirling around and hitting him in the gut and elbowing him in the face.
Naruto recovered from the elbow to the face and grabbed Thon, which was a bad decision because Thon's red lightning seemed to come alive and electrocute him.
Barry ran over to assist him, but Thon grabbed his neck and threw him into the Star Labs sign. Thon's lightning assaulted Naruto's lightning as if they were prey and predator, with Thon triumphant. The two came to a halt long enough for everyone to watch Thon's lightning appear to consume and corrupt Naruto's lightning like a parasite, and it was painful, judging by Naruto's cry.
Firestorm flew into the air and launched a fireball towards Thon, knocking him away from Naruto, who was on his knees in anguish. Gaara hurled multiple strands of sand towards Thon, who dodged them with ease, while Firestorm added to it with various fireballs. Oliver hurried over to assist Naruto in getting back to his feet.
Are you alright? As Naruto clutched his side in pain, he inquired. He raised his hand and attempted to vibrate it, but it didn't work as his lightning flickered about his body with a low dim instead of its regular brightness. Something wasn't right.
I'm all right, go. As Oliver went over to assist with the fight, Naruto told him. Naruto leaned against the fence to regain his breath, feeling weak and exhausted despite the fact that they had only been fighting for a few minutes. Gideon, what's happening to my powers?
You're feeling the aftereffects of Thon's negation of Speed Force. Your abilities are temporarily disabled, Gideon informed him. Great. Naruto mumbled as he stood up to assist. Thon continued to run laps around Firestorm and Gaara, who were unable to lay a hit on him. Gaara then unleashed a tidal surge of sand that filled the ground and slowed Thon before encircling him in a massive sand dome. The dome gradually shrank around Thon, only for him to blast it with lightning and turn it to glass, which he swiftly blasted through at super speed, scattering fragments everywhere. Gaara's attempt to shield his face from the shards of glass backfired as Thon raced out and hurled a red lightning bolt at the sand pile beneath his feet, turning it into glass.
Gaara fell to the ground, but Firestorm swooped by and caught him, safely putting him down before flying at Thon, who twirled his arm and made a wind funnel, sending him flying away but was hit by a special arrow in the back of the thigh. When Barry noticed Ronnie Stein being hit by the wind funnel, he dashed after him to ensure his safety while Thon removed the arrow from his leg.
Nanites, thanks to Ray Palmer and Naruto. They're sending out a high-frequency pulse that disables your speed. Oliver told him, and Thon ceased vibrating as a result. You're not going to be running around for a long time. Thon grinned as he charged at Oliver, unafraid. He dodged beneath his bow and lifted his leg to escape a knee hit, only to get punched 3 times in the face, bow punched in the abdomen, and bow smacked into a garbage. As Oliver crouched down, Naruto jumped off his back and hit him with a flying punch to the face, A left cross to the jaw, his leg kicked out from under him, and a knee to the face before being flung onto a stone seat. You may have taken advantage of my speed, but I'm not useless. Naruto and Oliver marched over as Thon slashed at them with a piece of glass, only for Oliver to disarm him, break his wrist, and strike him in the gut.
Naruto blocked Thon's kick and slapped him across the face before Oliver smacked him in the gut. He then kicked Thon in the chest as Naruto blocked Thon's punch, followed by 4 chain punches to his stomach, threw him to Oliver, who kicked out his left leg and then kicked him in the back, setting him up for Naruto to jump forward and land a tornado kick right to Thon's head, sending him spinning to the ground in pain.
Before Oliver could shoot, Thon vibrated the nanites out of his body and super slammed Naruto away before grabbing Oliver and smashing him to the ground. The history books say you'll live to be 86, Mr. Queen. So, I guess the history books are incorrect. Thon vibrated his hand, intent on smashing through Oliver's chest, only for Barry to slam him into a fence from the side. That's the spirit. Flash, you can't stop me, and you will never.
Thon bolted up the side of Star Labs, with Barry hot on his tail.
Gaara drew more sand from his gourd and flew after them, hovering in the air while Barry chased the Reverse Flash. Naruto observed the light show from the bottom floor as his side injuries improved and his lightning flickered back to normal. He closed his eyes and focused his attention on summoning his Speed Force armor, which coated his hands in crimson and white light. Let's put an end to this. Prepare to put him to sleep, Naruto informed Oliver, who nodded and dashed away.
Barry pursued Thon around the Star Labs roof, landing a good stomach punch that drew Thon's attention, so he led him over the rooftop and up one of the 3 building spires for their trap. When they reached at the top, Gaara enclosed and trapped Thon's feet, then spread and tightened it over his entire body to restrict him from moving and to torture him. Gaara clenched his fist as the sand around Thon like a coffin, effectively enclosing him.
Now, Barry yelled as Firestorm soared over and blasted a massive fireball at Thon, knocking him off the building. A sonic boom was heard as Naruto Super raced back to Star Labs and sprang into the air, performing a soaring supersonic Speed Forcer armor punch that hit him square in the gut and sending him smashing into the side of Star Labs. Naruto came to a halt as he noticed Thon's body trapped in the wall before slipping out and crashing to the ground with a loud thud. Despite his injuries and anguish, he managed to get back on his knees, only for Oliver to shoot him in the back with a specialized arrow. It was equipped with a power dampener as well as enough tranquilizer and dendrotoxin to knock out an elephant herd. Thon had no choice but to fall face first on the ground. As Barry slid close to Naruto, Oliver shot a grappling arrow and landed on the ground. Firestorm and Gaara descended and landed beside them. "Thanks, fellas." Barry addressed them all. "Not a problem, Stein," Ronnie responded. "Nice haircut," said Barry to Oliver, "and I see we've abandoned our traditional green." "Trying something new," Oliver explained. "It's quite a long story," Naruto stated. "Thank you for coming again. I'll return the favor." "Something tells me it'll be sooner than I expected," Oliver muttered, and Naruto nodded as he walked away, leaving Ronnie, Stein inside. "Thanks, Gaara," Naruto muttered as they shook hands and bumped fists. "We really appreciate it." "No worries. It felt excellent to put my abilities to good use. I'm just glad my flight wasn't cancelled." Gaara said this as he reflected in one of the Star Labs windows. He appeared to be in good shape. He nodded to Barry before following Ronnie into the building. Barry smirked as he stared down at Thon's body. "I've got you." To be continued.
That's it for this podcast. Thanks for listening to this video. If you did enjoy this episode, like, share, and subscribe for more. And thank you all for helping support. And have a great day.